So we started to speak yesterday in the Bnei Yissachar about the midrash that says Sheva Shevatot Tmimot Yena. What does it mean Tmimot? Completed, when Am Yisrael is doing Hashem's will, right? That's the midrash, and the Bnei Yissachar is connecting that to the count of the Sefirot. Okay, so we know that in the world outside of this yeshiva, the many people, they meet the concept of the Sefirot just in Sefirat HaOmer. Yeah, in Sefirat HaOmer, there's like a chart like that in the even regular Sidurim, Chesed Sheba Chesed, Rivua Sheba Chesed, and so on and so forth. 7 weeks for 7 Sefirot, 7 times 7, fine. Now, what is the meaning of that? When we say that last night we counted the, okay, so that's a little argument here, but most of the world counted the Hod of the Gvura. Okay, according to my tradition, it's the other way around. It's Hod, the Gvura of the Hod, but we'll leave that for another class. But what is the meaning of that? Like, what is those 7 Sefirot that we're speaking about? So the Bnei Yissachar is bringing an introduction that is the concept of the shuddering of the vessels, Shvirat HaKelim. That it says in the Arizal, really coming from the Zohar in the Idra Zuta, which is like the main article of Zohar that a lot of the Kabbalah of the Arizal is coming from, that there was, once upon a time, there was 7 kings. The 7 kings of Edom. Okay? And those 7 kings, they got a lot of kavod in the Jewish world, because all the time we speak about them in the Kabbalah.
7 kings of Edom.
They are the 7 kings of Edom.
Okay.
And they have a lot of kavod, right? Why they have so much kavod? So we speak about them when we want to speak about the breakdown. Okay? So the breakdown is something that is negative. Okay? So I say kavod, but really it's the other way around. We reminding their name in a negative connection, which is the breakdown, the shattering of the vessel that came down from the world of Atzilut to the lower worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah. So those 7 kings are correspond to the 7 Sefirot. Okay? So there's a whole discussion if the first king is the Dat or the first king is the Chesed, and okay, I'm not going into the technical.
What the Ushpizin to quote that
it's related with
different systems.
Yeah, the Ushpizin is the positive side. Anyhow, I don't want to get into the arguments. I want to say that the Bnei Yissachar approach, Chassidish approach, is to connect everything to ourselves. So, like we know that there was that concept of the sharding on the vessels, that they fell down from the world of Atzilut to the lower worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah, that's also what happens to a person when he's doing a sin. Okay? Every time someone is doing a sin, doesn't have to be something that is like, like a big thing, It can be even like a wrong thought. Every sin that is like slightly going away from the connection with Hashem, from the way of the Torah, like is going down in his spiritual being, from the world of Atzilut, the world of unity, the world of the connection with Hashem, to the lower worlds of separation. Okay, the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah is called Bia de Peruda, the worlds of the separation. So, what is the tikkun? What is the tikkun for coming down? Obviously, we have to climb up again, right? Unfortunately, many times for many people, it's a very, very challenging task. Many people, they are finding themselves in very low places, spiritual, physical, emotional, whatever it is, and they don't know what's the way to climb up from that pit that they fell into. So that's the point that I want to bring it, that each one of those 7 Sefirot is representing a certain attribute that when we're going through those 7 attributes to do tikkun for them within ourselves, so that will bring us for the way of elevation. And we all need elevation. Okay? Each one from his place needs to get higher because Hashem wants all of us in the top 4, right? So wherever you're holding, you always need to try to get to a higher spot. So we need to understand what is the meaning of each one of those 7 Sefirot: Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. And obviously what I'm going to say now is very, very general and needs to be referred in details, and I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to just like summarize generally, okay? So Chesed simply is kindness, okay? So we know that Chesed, to do Chesed, to be kind, is very important, but really we don't know what does it mean. How to do Chesed properly, okay? And it's not like one class to explain what is Chesed. It's a whole book to explain what is Chesed, and each one of the Sefirot, okay?
The Avot knew.
What?
The Avot knew.
The Avot knew, fine, I accept it, but I'm saying like for us to understand like what we need to do with it, okay? So there's many books about it. One of the like good books that I recommend is Avat Chesed of the Chafetz Chaim. Very, very good book. Is explaining a lot about like how to do Chesed in the right way. But I just want to like put one point of how to do Chesed. Is the idea of Chesed is not to think what I'm going to get from that. That's not real Chesed. Okay? It's very, very normal. Everybody do it. Yeah? Me including. But that's not the right way. The right way to do Chesed is do Chesed for Hashem's sake. Hashem wants me to help everybody, so I'm doing whatever I can. That's the real Chesed. That's the real kindness. Not to do Chesed in order to receive afterwards. Okay? It's very, very hard task to be in that place, state of mind, but that's what we should aim for. Going next to the Gvura. The Gvura is obviously the opposition of the Chesed, which is the restriction.
Can
Okay?
I ask a very, very, very basic question?
Yeah.
Sod is Chesed? Sod is Chesed?
Is Sod Chesed? Sod is like literal translation is secret. Yeah. So you can say that Sod is Gvura in the same breath that is Chesed. Anyhow, Gvura is the restriction, limitation, and that's basically the brakes of that we need to have. Okay, so like we understand that to have a ride in a car that doesn't have brakes, it can be very scary, and that's not what we want to do, right? So we have to make sure that our brakes are working well, and before we're taking a ride on life, and that means to know when to stop, right? There's all kinds of things that are happening, positive, negative, whatever it is, and we all the time we need to hold it in those times that we need to hold it and to restrain ourselves. Sometimes to restrain others, but let's speak about ourselves first. So to do that in the right time, in the right manner, that will be the tikkun for the Gvura. Okay? Very simple way. Tiferet is obviously the balance between the Chesed and Gvura, and that's also called the attribute of truth, Emet, and Torah. So the Torah is teaching us the true way of the balance. What is the balance between the Chesed and the Gvura? When I should give, when I should restrain myself, right? So for example, somebody asked me a couple of days ago if he should give half of his money as a donation. Okay, so that's obviously an act of chesed. So what is the right balance between giving, between doing chesed, giving charity, and the fact that I need to take care of myself, I need to take care of my life, I need to have what I need for myself, that I won't need the help of others afterwards, right? So the Torah is telling us, alachot tzedakah, there is a way. You give 10% is the minimum, 20% you get the blessing to have extra sustenance, and if someone is very wealthy that is able to support himself, even if he will give 50% or more, so no problem. No, there's no problem if a person is he have so much that he can give 90% and to have like another $1 billion in his pocket, enjoy, give 90%, 99% if you want, whatever it is, but you have to make sure that you won't need the help of others. So that's example for balance of the Torah, okay? And that goes in everything. Like there is people that they don't want to eat, they want to be like angels. There is people that are eating too much. So the Torah is giving us the balanced way, the true way, the middle way of how to relate to life. So to follow the Torah, that's basically the tikkun of the Tiferet. Okay?
So we always link Abraham Avinu and Chesed, Yitzchak Avinu and Givorah, Yaakov Avinu and Emet. So we can also link Yaakov Avinu and Torah.
Yes.
Okay.
It says about Yaakov that he was Yoshev Ohalim, that he was sitting in the tent of the Torah. Next, we have Netzach. Netzach is basically the pushing forward. Okay, many times people are getting in different situation in their life that there's a certain thing that is stuck, and to have that strength to push forward, that's basically the quality of Netzach. Okay, a very good example for that is labor, to give birth. So a woman that she gives birth, if she doesn't have the strength to push, that's it. Today there is cesarean, but the basic understanding of so we all in different points in our life we get to that point that we need to push, otherwise things doesn't happen. I can even say that in everything, everything that you want to do, there is a certain moment that you have to push it forward, that something will move, that something will happen. So to do that in the right time, for the right purposes, that will be the tikkun for the Netzach. Okay? The Hod is exactly the opposite. The Hod is to withdraw. When you in Chazal there is a concept that it's called shev ve'al taseh. Some cases, just sit and don't do anything. Sit down, don't do anything. Shev ve'al taseh adif. When you there's doubts, there's different sides of what to do, you don't know where to push, you better not push anything. Yeah? To push the red button when it's not needed, you can create a world war. Don't do it. Chas v'shalom. So if you don't know what, you better sit down and relax, and that's basically Hod. Hod is also related with to be humble, to humble yourself, to know that you are not able to do everything, you are limited. So to be in that place, that's the tikkun of the Hod. And also there is a rabbis that are relating Hod with beauty, in the Hebrew word of Hod is Hod ve'adah, something that is wow, beautiful. So we can connect it and say that someone that he knows when to withdraw, when not to push himself forward, someone that is humble enough to stay in the background sometimes, there is a beauty to that. That's a real beauty. The Yesod is very simple, the tikkun of the Brit, the lusts and desires and so on. So to have that in the right place, in the right manner, the right amount, is the tikkun of the Yesod. And the Malchut, Acharon Chaviv, is to be a vessel to contain the abundance of Hashem. Okay, so in a certain way, this is the hardest. Okay, everything is coming to the Malchut. So all those different tikkunim is needed for the tikkun of the Malchut. Tikkun of the Malchut is the result of all of that together. So when we get to that tikkun of the Malchut, which is basically the last week of the HaOmer, is when everything comes together to perfect the vessel that needs to contain the light. And that's also related to what we were discussing before of Shalom. Because it says, Hashem yivarech et amo v'shalom. The blessing comes to Shalom. What is Shalom? Shlemut, completion. So if there is a cup and there is a hole in the cup, it cannot contain the tea. So everything spills out, right? So to make sure that the vessel is completed, that is able to receive the amounts that Hashem wants to give, that's the tikkun of the Malchut. So Bezrat Hashem will give all of us the strength and the merit to do all of those tikkunim and to be happy with it, not to be frustrated, to be happy and to feel the excitement and the satisfaction from going through the process, and to know that when we do that, we're doing what Hashem wants us to do. And this is the tikkun, and this is very, very important part of the understanding of Sefirat HaOmer and all life, really. Bezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.